It is Monday, March 31st, and Elon Musk exposing a thermonuclear story last night while performing his get out the vote effort for the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, revealing a shocking surge they found in Social Security numbers issued for non-citizens over the last 4 years. This story they've been keeping under the belt while running this huge investigation over the last 6 weeks, trying to track all this down, showing a mind-blowing chart. Really, once you see the numbers, it's hard to unsee it. All of this carried out by the Biden administration. We're going to show you. Also, it turns out Zelensky is at the end of his rope. Both Trump and Putin releasing statements yesterday that don't look good for Volodymyr. We're going to show you that and more stories as well from around the country, including the stunning amount of new revenues Trump's tariffs are already bringing in. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. Elon Musk revealing shocking numbers of fraud his team uncovered 6 weeks ago and have been working with the Homeland Security Investigation Service to get to the bottom of. Members of his Doge team traveling all around the country to figure this out, following a trail of breadcrumbs left by former Biden officials. Good people working inside multiple agencies of the federal government had pieces of the puzzle, and they came forward exposing them to the Doge team, but they didn't have the whole story. They've been traveling from the Social Security Administration to the border to Medicare, Medicaid, Homeland Security, and they've done it, cracking the real reason why the Biden administration purposely allowed 10 plus million illegal aliens in over the last 4 years and turned the dial on free benefits all the way to the max for these 10 plus million illegals. Musk and his friend Antonio Gracias, longtime investor in Tesla and SpaceX, someone Musk trusts, joined the effort to figure this out. Well, he was on stage with Musk explaining last night what their investigation has uncovered, revealing a chart that just blew the crowd away, showing a surge in Social Security numbers issued to non-citizens. Get this, in 2021, there were 270,000 non-citizens with Social Security numbers. By 2024, that number ballooned to 2.1 million. A mind-blowing chart. How do illegal aliens have legitimate Social Security numbers? And what in the world are they doing with them? Well, watch Musk and Gracias explain this, break this down, explain how these aren't recently deceased American Social Security numbers. They aren't stolen Social Security numbers. They're not purchased Social Security numbers. No, these are real, authentic, generated, and assigned Social Security numbers issued by the Biden administration to these 2.1 million illegal aliens. You can't make this up. And watch them explain what they caught these people using their new socials for.
And I'd like to welcome my friend Antonio Gracias to the stage. I think so. Does it work? I can give you mine. Does it work? It'll be okay. I mean, Buzz Aldrin's still alive, and he went past the belts.
It'll work. Is this working? Yeah, it's on now, yeah.
There you go. So, Antonio, can you tell us what you... Antonio is helping out with the Social Security. So just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk a bit louder, maybe?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff that we're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. Okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we map the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview. No ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep.
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through, on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why. Right. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote.
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already. That is already happening.
This is what's known as a scandal. This is a real scandal of epic proportion, something the legacy media won't touch with a 10-foot pole. No, they're too busy distracting us with Signalgate, the dumbest story in the world where Mike Waltz accidentally added a journalist to a group chat. Oh my lord, it's the end of the world. And I'd like to know why they only ran a sampling of the Social Security numbers. Run all 2.1 million against the voter registration database. Let's see exactly how many of these people registered to vote, because that's illegal. It's a crime both federally and on the state level for non-citizens to register to vote. There are some local elections for school boards and city councils in certain blue states that allow non-citizen voting, but that's not what we're talking about here. They ran the Social Security numbers against the federal voter registration database. That's what we're talking about. If those socials are in that database, it's game over. Now, Musk wasn't holding this rally to explain his Doge findings. He was there to get out the vote for tomorrow's election, a make-or-break race. Watch him explain to the crowd why he was in Wisconsin in the first place last night, why tomorrow's election is so critical. Roll the tape.
What's happening on Tuesday is a vote for which party controls the U.S. House of Representatives. That is why it is so significant. And whichever party controls the House, it to a significant degree controls the country, which then steers the course of Western civilization. So it's like, I feel like this is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will. No pressure. Yeah. So, it's a super big deal, and the fact that I'm here in person, like I'm not phoning it in. I'm here in person. So. And there were quite a few death threats, I have to tell you.
This Wisconsin Supreme Court election is tomorrow. The contest is between Brad Schimel, the conservative, and Susan Crawford, the liberal. Thus far, the largest state Supreme Court donor election. Huge volumes of outside money have poured into this race. Unprecedented levels, over $81 million in total spending thus far. An unprecedented influx of cash for a Supreme Court election. A state Supreme Court election. Key donors including billionaires like George Soros, who funneled $5.5 million to Crawford since early February. Reid Hoffman donating big money. So did Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who, if you didn't know, is a billionaire as well. This election holds the key to Democrats redrawing the congressional lines in Wisconsin and picking up 2 congressional seats for the midterms. Let's hope that doesn't happen. This could alter the course of Trump's presidency. So if you live in Wisconsin, get out and vote tomorrow. In another story, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky finding himself in the worst position since the start of the war, angering both President Trump and Vladimir Putin, rejecting Trump's new mineral deal and demanding NATO membership, and also no verbiage in the agreement that says prior U.S. aid was a loan, saying Ukraine doesn't owe the U.S. anything, just their gratitude. But they are not, he says, in debt to the United States, saying to remove those 2 clauses from the agreement or he won't be signing. Trump responding last night, he's not too happy with Zelensky. Watch.
Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. And if he does that, he's got some problems, big problems. We made a deal on rare earth, and now he's saying, well, I want to renegotiate the deal. He wants to be a member of NATO. Well, he was never going to be a member of NATO. He understands that. So if he's looking to renegotiate the deal, he's got big problems.
This coming after that alleged car explosion a few nights ago where one of Putin's limos in his personal motorcade exploded. All signs looking like it was a Ukrainian assassination attempt. Putin saying yesterday Russia is ready to wipe Ukraine off the map, declaring we will finish them off. Those were his words, claiming Russia's military is gaining momentum and operating with growing effectiveness. The only thing left, Putin says, is for the Ukrainian people to accept this. Watch.
И есть все основания полагать. Я еще совсем недавно говорил, мы их дожмем. Есть основания полагать, что мы их добьем. Я думаю, что только должно прийти осознание того, что происходит у самого украинского народа. А то, что наши вооруженные силы набирают обороты, действуют все более и более эффективно.
The longer Zelensky stalls, the worse it gets for him, the worse it gets for his country, for his people. He continues to lose more territory. And realize, if he would have signed Trump's agreement 2 months ago, he'd be in such a stronger position right now. Everyone at this point is fed up with Zelensky. The good news is that Trump's not sent any new U.S. tax dollars to Ukraine. The only aid that's gone through since his inauguration were weapons, military aid that the Biden administration already earmarked for them. Let me know in the comments, do you think we should send any more money to Ukraine? Do you think this should be any of our business whatsoever, or should we just stay the hell out of it and work on our own problems? In another story, Wednesday, April 2nd, 2 days from today, is Liberation Day. That's what Trump says, Liberation Day. When Trump's reciprocal tariffs go into effect, it's expected that just the reciprocal tariffs alone will generate over $600 billion a year, this year, 2025, of new revenues for the United States. Then Trump's 25% auto tariffs are expected to generate over $100 billion in additional revenues. That's over $700 billion a year in cash that will flow into the Treasury General account, the main bank account for the United States. Watch.
The administration estimates the Trump tariffs will bring in $600 billion in the first year to the Treasury General Fund. The president's extra 25% tariffs on autos alone expected to generate $100 billion on top of the reciprocal tariffs. So those tariffs on just about all countries is meant to level the trade playing field. The extra 25% tariffs on autos and others meant to protect 7 industries the president has deemed critical. You see those industries there, autos on the list, along with semiconductors, labor, steel, aluminum, and the others.
So those new tariff revenues, $700 billion a year, along with shrinking the federal government, downsizing it, Doge cutting $1 trillion in waste by September, that right there would balance the budget. The United States has a $1.6, $1.7 trillion annual deficit. We're spending $1.6 trillion more than we make. Well, not anymore. Trump is in the process of fixing this, and now we're seeing exactly how he's doing it. The External Revenue Service starting Wednesday to collect massive tariffs and taxes from the rest of the world, not from us, not from Americans, but from the rest of the world. That, along with shrinking the size of government, I don't know about you, but this is exactly what I'd hoped he'd do. It doesn't get any better than this. This is the first time in my lifetime a president is putting this country first, really fixing the problems. It's just amazing. Trump writing on Truth Social this morning, there will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's happening for all of us to see in the United States of America. Companies pouring into our country at levels never seen before with jobs and money to follow. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Then adding, in 2 months, there has been more private investments spoken for and or committed to than in 4 years of the sleepy Joe Biden administration, a fact that the fake news hates talking about. And he's right. All you hear on corporate media is fear-mongering. No honest presentation of how this is really fixing the massive problems our country was facing. Constantly focusing on other countries instead of our own country. Well, no more. Last night, Trump explaining to these other countries what they can expect on Liberation Day. Roll the tape.
The tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us, meaning they will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades. They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history. And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country, nevertheless.
All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.